Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
The next day, Yun wakes up to find John has prepared breakfast for him, and they have it together. However, he is surprised that John bought the food at a higher price than it deserves, prompting him to ask Yun to choose clothes with him, leaving Yun astonished because all his t-shirts look alike. Later on, Jane finds herself in John's brother's office and sees him watching a video of John being beaten up. She asks about it, and John's brother tells her that John was defending her, revealing to him that she knows they are brothers, surprising him and making him realize that she is committed to John and that John was the one who informed her. After that, she goes to meet John and tells him that his brother asked about him and was interested in him, but she discovers from John that he pretends to be tough in front of people while, in reality, he is annoyed by him. Jane leaves to go to class, but she meets her friend who apologizes to her for what he did and asks her to join him and the rest of the friends to apologize to her. Jane believes him and goes with him, and he leads her into a room and closes the door, starting to film her in a live video and writing that he is having a great time with his girlfriend. John starts running to reach her, trying to call her, but his friend takes the phone from her. Jane tries to escape, but he stops her and assaults her. John arrives and argues with him, hitting him and comforting Jane, but his friend comes from behind and attacks him, attempting to strangle him. However, she arrives in time and hits him, and the security comes and arrests him. Afterward, Jane cleans John's wound and apologizes to him for what happened because of her, but John reassures her, saying he was worried about her and apologizes for not arriving on time. Then John finds his brother waiting for him, talking to him and asking him why he didn't hit the person who hit him. John tells him that he can't forget his past when he used to be beaten as a child and he's used to enduring beatings without retaliation. His brother's words affect him, and John leaves him and goes to his apartment. At night, he is sleeping and dreaming nightmares that his brother is hitting him. He wakes up frightened, crying. When Yun returns from work, he finds John afraid and trembling, so he goes to reassure him. The next day, Jane wears a beautiful dress and goes to meet John as they agreed. But he is late. When she calls him, he tells her he won't be able to meet her. Jane worries and goes to check on him, but she finds him locked in his room and decides to leave him alone and not pressure him. He sees her leaving and tries to talk to her, but she refuses and leaves him. John feels worried because their relationship is tense, and he continues drinking. He sees Rand sitting beside him and asks for her number, but she refuses. He tells her it's not the first time he's been rejected, and she apologizes and asks him to engage in conversation with her. After that, John thanks Yun for being with him and learns from him that Jane came to see him yesterday. He is surprised and goes to meet her, apologizing for not contacting her yesterday and explaining that he didn't want her to see him in that state. Jane hugs him and tells him she'll be there for him whenever he needs her. Afterwards, Professor Park organizes a camping trip at the university, but no one signs up for it. Dr. S mocks him, but later John learns about it and joins her along with his peers. Professor Park is delighted to see them, and they continue playing together, having a good time. At night, they gather around a fire and start playing the confession game. Chan asks fans of someone in attendance to put down their fingers, surprising everyone and making them curious about the fan next to them. Then they play the memory game, where each person talks about their life and painful memories. John recalls a memory from his childhood when his brother was crying and asking for forgiveness. Feeling amazed, John asks him what happened, and his brother tells him that he doubts the validity of his memories and that he needs to confirm them to know the truth. He prepares to meet his brother on the way, but feels a headache and remembers another memory where his father was hitting him. Feeling confused, when he talks to his brother, he confesses to him that their father used to hit him when he was young. John is surprised and asks him why they didn't tell the truth before. His brother apologizes to him, and it becomes clear that he was kicking him out of the house to protect him from their abusive father. John expresses his gratitude to his brother for revealing the truth and returns to his apartment. Yun also returns to the apartment, feeling worried about John. When he finds him, he reassures him and shares everything that happened, discovering that his brother loved him and protected him from afar all this time. Meanwhile, Jane is also worried and wants to make sure John is okay, but she hesitates to pressure him and waits until he tells her personally. Rand can't sleep because she thinks Yun likes Shia, while Shia thinks he likes Rand. The next day, John meets with Jane and assures her that the misunderstanding between him and his brother has been resolved. Jane expresses her joy, confirming that she was sure of his brother's love for him. Afterwards, students in the lecture talk about their role models, and John chooses Yun as his role model because he is diligent and dedicated despite working multiple jobs and always gets high grades. Jane also chooses Yun as her role model, indicating that she trusts and relies on him, and Yun feels embarrassed by their words. When they leave the lecture, Shia waits for Yun and asks to talk to him, learning from him that the girl he likes is Ran. Shia confesses that she doesn't regret expressing her feelings to him, and she's happy to get to know him, thanking him for the opportunity to talk to him. Then she leaves. John takes a walk with Jane, and when they reach his apartment, he finds his mother inside the dwelling. She starts mocking him about the girl she saw him with. She asks him about his brother because she couldn't reach him and he doesn't respond to her. Suddenly, his mother starts crying and John notices bruises on her hands. He realizes that his father abuses her and that she has been suffering from violence for a long time. His mother asks him not to talk to anyone about it, then she leaves, defeated. John calls his brother and tells him what happened. He learns from his brother that he asked their mother more than once to leave the house and divorce, but she refused. Afterwards, they talk about their father, and John discovers that their father was a police officer and used violence to protect their mother and brother. John tells his brother about the violence he experienced from their father and how he is suffering, surprising Yun because he didn't know the extent of his brother's suffering. Later, John's dad watches a video of him hitting his son. He then asks his driver to monitor him whenever John goes. His dad sees him in the university with Jane while Ran is sleeping and dreaming about Yun marrying Shia. When she wakes up, she feels panicked. The doctor advises her to talk to him before it's too late, so Ran encourages her and goes to confess her feelings to Yoon, expressing her joy that this opportunity has arisen. They talk together and continue the crime. After that, Jane tells him about her life, informing him that her family separated when she was young and her mother left home and departed. Jane is waiting for a call from her mother, but she hasn't called her. John tells her that she received a call from her mother a while ago and feels confused about what to do. John encourages her to answer the call and talk to her mother sincerely instead of giving in to sadness. Jane responds to John's advice and meets her mother, apologizing to her and expressing her longing for her. However, Jane's mother refuses, telling her that she needed her in the past, but now she can rely on herself. Jane feels frustrated and sad, crying, but John tries to calm her down and suggests that she needs time to forgive her mother. He holds her hand and encourages her to keep moving forward. The two of them walk together and are surprised to find the driver waiting for them, informing them that their father wants John home, which worries Jane, but John reassures her and tells her that everything will be okay. He then leaves her with the driver and returns home. Jane goes to her brother's office and tells him that their father asked John to come home.